Great. And let me share my screen. I believe that you can see just I believe you can see it now. Am I correct? Can someone just give me a shout out?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you so much for joining. I will go in order. So we will start with the ORD, which I think that is also the ones that are here mostly interested in. And then, but still, we will go through to the MIDP, and we will cover as well some key factors for eventually someone that could be interested on the reviewers of both categories, so that at once we can address the most of the questions that pop up. Having said so, the Japanese award for outstanding research on development, or to make it easy, ORD. ORD is the research component of the grant of this competition. And this competition itself is been going on since 2000. It is the longest project that GDN has, and always been managed by us with the funds themselves generally coming from the Ministry of Finance, the government of Japan. Till this day, around 4 million have been provided with almost 9,000 researchers and practitioners, the NGOs, having participated and having been awarded, with over 200 of them have been conferred until this day. Since the 2022 edition, the grant sizes have been increased, and I hope that trend to come up from the 25th edition moving forward. But as we stand, we have the first prize getting a $30,000, the second prize getting 20,000, and the third prize getting 10,000. When you are applying aiming high, right? So you are applying to the first prize award, and the budget that you set forth is precisely for those 30,000. And if those that are assigned the second and third prize funds, they will have the opportunity to scale down, to rework on their project based on the feedback that is provided to you at a later stage by the jury, and as well as the mentorship that is secured for every single awardee of this program. The topic changes every year, and this year it has been the overarching theme is sustainable climate change for human-centered development. So what we're trying to do here is to find the nexus between development, the climate change impact, and overall, how does this contribute, or how is this connected to the very extensive concept of human security. So we want to, above all, to see projects that are considered innovative, that bring all these different angles into perspective, or while looking into the social sciences, because it's the core for development, while connecting it to climate change impacts. So the premises and the goal of GDN and its core mission is social sciences as a vehicle for development. So it should be at the center of the work that you're going to propose. And when we're talking about when we're talking about proposals and coming out of you, is that we expect that these are original ideas. Be aware that all the proposals that come through us go through Plex Scan in order to understand if they are actually coming from out of your own words. It is perfectly fine to quote, to give the references and so on, but it is still that those need to be the basis, the core for your literature review, not copy paste information from one source to the other, to the main proposal. And this also applies to self-plagiarism. So do not repeat things per word, because that will be a reason for to be taken out, to be excluded from the competition. We've had situations as such in the past, and I really hope for that to not be a case over again. So the main topic is sustainable climate action for human-centered development, but while looking more deeply into the ORD, the research component, we are looking into the assessment of social impact of climate change in the global south. And why the global south? Because as you will see later on, and you can see from the call, this competition is targeted for researchers from based on in the global south. The institution must be in the global south, the project must be in the global south, though of course you also have the possibility to make it some sort of comparison to some from to countries in the global north, but overall main focus LMICs global south according to the definition of the World Bank. We've given three big components in terms of to help guide the sort of application that you might set forth in terms of focusing on to be innovative in terms of the methodology. It can be the temporal analysis. It can be instead of if it can be short term or long term, or if you're going to assess precisely into comparisons from the past to the future. But it also needs to be focused on the human in terms of human security components. So something that will always be to advance and to ensure that the conditions of those that you are making the assessment about will be improved, or you're trying to assess how these can be improved, because we want this any project that comes out of here to come with a mandatory output, which is a research article, but also with the capacity and with the vision to have an impact in terms of policy making. So evidence-based policymaking, it is a core factor and is something that we deeply look into. So we brought these three big items, and you can see that then there's sub-items or sub-points on each one of them. And you, it is on the call, and I put it on this slide that I believe you can see. Applications must focus on different aspects from the focus areas below and demonstrate how these are intertwined. Do not forget, do not focus on a single aspect of this. Demonstrate how they are connected, because the topic is broad and we want to make this nexus to see how you will be advancing it towards that the development of that field of expertise. I hope that that was clear for y'all. Eligible countries, this I'm going to be making this presentation available. This is on the call as well, but it's also always important to bring them back to light as well once more, so that you don't, because we've had cases in the past as well where people, let's take the example of people in North America, in the USA, they wanted to do some research in an LMIC, but it they were not based there. They would do things remotely. They were not even nationals. That is not eligible. Okay, you can have a partner, but the main research, the institution, we're going to have a partner. The grant agreement itself is going to be made with your hosting institution or the affiliated institution that is going to be that you will be part of or associated with. And this can be it doesn't necessarily have to be an university per se, but it has to have on its mission and on its activities research components, because they will be ultimately the ones responsible for the due diligence. You will be responsible. When I say you, the PI will be responsible, can or cannot have a team. You don't have to submit with a full team. It can be a single researcher, because this is for early researchers from the global south. So someone that is building up their career and their profile, but they must be in one of the eligible countries, which are LMICs. So I've given hints, right, until of some of the criteria. But here you can see them clearly, which are the ones that we look deep into them. Eligible country. First one, the priority one, the main one that I look for, then is about the age of the team members. Senior researchers, I'm putting the chat here, so I'll try to involve, feel free to drop messages and I'll try to include them in throughout the speech, what I'm saying. So every single person on the project team So anyone that will be part of that will be considered to be part of the evaluation process must be up to 45 years and on the 1st of January 2025. You might have someone else in the institution that will support you, but they are not, and they cannot be part of the official team, and they will not be taken into consideration in terms of the feasibility or the quality of the research team. Okay, be aware of this, because those are informations that will be checked when you submit the application, both through the CV and through the profile that is submitted on through the platform that is to be used. So avoid being disqualified, because you're going to see part of the grant agreement and part of the different general rules that are that are on the open call is that if any information is found to be untrue, even after the grant is signed, will be a cause for disqualification. So please be aware of this. Double funding, similarly, you cannot have secured funding for the grant for the project that you're submitting to GDN and through another source. Those things tend to emerge, especially at a later stage once you are getting, when you start producing outputs, you start putting research articles or blog posts or whatever it is where you have to make the recognition of the funding, and then it is uncovered that there's actually double funding. That can be an institutional nightmare, but above all, it is a failure towards the obligations and part of the conditions of the grant. And we don't want to create any chaos moving forward, because then you would be forced to, or in the institution would be forced to return all the funds because of a breach of contract. So let's all be aware of that from the get-go. The different members cannot be team members, or the PI cannot be part of multilateral organizations like the World Bank, the IMF, these big institutions that generally provide development funds, and also if they were previous or current workers of GDN or the regional partners, at least until the 5 years after they've been part of it. That generally is not the case. I've not come across it, but whenever it's good to emphasize on that. The projects that have been already funded by GTN cannot be submitted, and previous ORD winners and finalists are also not able to apply with the same or similar research proposal. Okay, and the winners, though I don't see anyone here that I can recognize immediately as being a winner, can need to have at least 3 years until they reapply for this. Plagiarism, academic dishonesty, even if self-paid plagiarism, is not accepted and will be a cause for removal. The process itself, this competition has some features that I am very happy about, which is even if you don't succeed on getting the grants throughout the multiple stages of it, you will always get feedback from the reviewers. So even if you don't move from the first level review to the second level review, you will still get feedback so that you know where you could have done better, so that for any future endeavors, any other competition inside or outside of GDN, if eligible, you can apply with a stronger application. The only moment when you don't get feedback of any sort is on the first stage in terms of the eligibility screening. Okay, so those that are removed, that are incomplete, they are missing some key information like the date, like the details about the date of birth of the participants, their CVs, or if they are completely out of scope in terms of the theme, because that has happened, that we had applicants that simply copy pasted previous applications to other programs, but had no connection with the theme. It was not demonstrated, they would be excluded as well. So only those that are within the topic will be moved to the evaluation stage. At first level is done by junior researchers or generalists. Let's call it generalists. So people that are not entirely focused or specialized on the theme of this year, but have a proven record of having worked on the research environment with leadership positions, and in some cases even previous awardee winners. So they review it. At least every single proposal is reviewed at least by 3 individuals, and the information the we do our best to we do our best, and we have mechanisms in place in order to ensure that we can minimize as much as possible gender bias, because that is still, unfortunately, that still happens, even if it is unconscious. So we do have many mechanisms to ensure that there's a gender balance between those that move from the first stage to the second stage and to the finalists. And this has been in place since the 2021, because we saw that there was a trend of only having male researchers. So, and this year, funny enough, we almost had the opposite. Almost had to apply it in order to ensure gender balance towards males, but it was not finally was not necessary. But we pay attention to that and ensure that that is taken into account. After this generalist reviews, feedback is provided to the applicants. The timeline of it, when it happens and how it happens, it is part of the call. So I kindly ask you to take that into account, and you look into the call for proposals where all the different steps, the times when it is expected for you to revise it or not, at every moment, because those moments are set. Because we contract these people, and then the timeline is done in accordance so that the finals happen at the conference of GDN. So first level review, generalists, those that are selected get the feedback. They get 1 to 2 weeks to revise it, resubmit it if they wish. Take notes that you don't have to revise it. You might not entirely agree with the generalist, so you might keep it as it is. You are not forced to. And then those that are excluded still get the feedback, but it's a feedback for any future endeavors that they might get. The second level review, again, with at least three reviews per proposal, is done by specialists. So people that have track record on the topic of this year of the edition, because each year the edition changes its theme. So each year there's an entire new call for reviewers they're selected based on their past record on the field. The same process as before in terms of feedback is provided. The top 3, which are so-called the finalists, get the feedback and they get a chance to revise it according to that feedback. Those that are excluded, they do not. The final stage selection is done at the conference of GDN. This year, the conference will take place in Fiji, and on the week of the 25th of November, and the finalists will be invited and will be funded to attend the conference. But before the conference, there's going to be a 2-day training on comms, so that they have an opportunity to test out the presentations, improve the presentations, improve their leaflets or handouts that will be provided for further dissemination, so that they all have an equal opportunity to succeed at the final stage. Because we know that depending on where you're coming from, depending on junior or not you are, a junior or young you are researchers, you might have different soft development of soft skills, like presenting in public speaking, designing PowerPoints, tailoring out your message to different audiences. So we will provide this training in person. This year is going to be in person, so that no one has an unfair advantage to the others when they're all at the same level in terms of the competition. This week, we've been going through the 2023 edition. The finals are going through a comms training, but it's virtual because the session is going to be virtual instead of within a conference. So it's going to be more interesting for this edition because everything will take place live, in person, before the conference actually takes place. And of course, there's the bonus of getting a sponsored trip to Fiji to attend the conference and to present it to the jury in person instead of doing it online. The evaluation criteria throughout these stages until you get to the finals is divided in three big sections: the academic quality, the links to policy, remember what I said before, and feasibility, which is connected as well to the comment I made on the team members. These are structured according to the application itself. So you're going to see that throughout the application, the templates that is provided online, and you can see it reflected then on the platform, there are key questions on each one of the sections. And those are directly aligned with this. So what I'm saying, and I'm saying this because we do not expect you to directly answer the question. So in the field, to copy the guiding question that is there and then reply to it. But you should be aware that throughout the content of said section, you are addressing it, because those are the details and the instructions that are provided to the reviewers. So take every information that is provided at every step of the way. There's a reason for it. So make sure that you follow it through and you don't skip it, or if you are using material from another competition, another program that you apply to, that you make sure that what you're placing there fits what is being requested and what is being expected out of there. You see that on the feasibility, the last part is the impact of social distancing policies. This is not taken for evaluation, but it is hopefully there we will not face another pandemic, but we are still facing in many regions still consequences and some limitations coming from the impact of the COVID pandemic. So we want to understand when especially the reviewers and ourselves, the GDN, if what you're going to propose will be impacted or is currently being affected by some of those policies that might still be in place. So it's not going to be used for the evaluation, but it's important to provide it in case we are aware that such sort of local realities or regional realities do impact what you're trying to do. When you get to the final stage, these three big sections that have each other a different scoring by the external reviewers, it's simplified to a certain extent to what the jury will be there evaluating it from. So you'll be presenting in front of the jury, and these are the 6 elements that they will, 6 criteria that they will provide a score with, and that will guide the final ranking. Because the finalists enter at the same level, all as finalists, but then there's a ranking, and the ranking, as I mentioned earlier, is associated with a different funding amount. They will look for the contribution to of the research to an aspect of development, and this aspect of development is the theme of the competition for this specific year. They will look again back into the innovation. They will look overall into its academic quality and soundness, and the clarity or significance to have an impact on policymaking, because these are leading to, as I mentioned earlier, leading as a main output, minimum output, the research article that will have to emerge, but then to also having an impact on the local, regional, or national level for policy changes. Because we tend to see that we tend to look for a systemic problem within that topic. So let's work towards a solution, and a solution that is evidence-based. Finally, the team into composition, and last but not least, the quality of the presentation. And when I mention quality of the presentation, it's not about how pretty it is or concise it is, but how coherent your speech is, how the confidence level in terms of during the Q&A rounds, and in terms of explaining that to the general audience that will be available on site and online for it. I don't have here ORD reviewers, I believe, of interest, but so that you have an understanding of how these people are selected. They have to show their background on the theme, the work that they've done in policy making and policy connections, similar to what is expected out of the winners of this competition, and in terms of leadership of managing projects throughout the process, as well as the implementation of said projects. ORD. Any pertinent questions right now before I move on to the MIDP? Feel free to unmute yourself and to talk.
Hey, João.
Yes, Cynthia.
I just have one question on the collaborators.
Yes.
There's on the eligibility of collaborators. You've talked about you've talked about employees from bilateral organizations and multilateral organizations. Are they limited to the ones you've listed?
Generally these are the ones that I look for, but you have any other in mind?
Yeah, we have these organizations like the likes of IFPRI. Are they
Those could be
like mostly
those could be
agricultural?
tricky.
So do you allow collaboration from people from centers, from such centers like, let's say, CMIT and the likes of agricultural centers but are private, not really national?
Okay. If they're private, as long as these people are not the PI, that could be acceptable.
Okay, so they should not be the PI, but they can collaborate.
They could collaborate, but be aware that as long as it is not perceived as well that they are using this this opportunity for funding of salaries or so.
Okay.
If you understood.
So the limitation is mostly on the PI.
Yes, the PI should be above all the one that has the most liberty, in order for it to not be associated with something that is not focused on the development of the researcher.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Anyone else has any burning question?
Yes. I just want to say thank you for the presentation, and I want to could I have the PowerPoint of this presentation after the section?
Yes, I will be sharing and sending this to everyone that joined in this PowerPoint presentation afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Something that I'm not sure if I mentioned is that the award is not just about the funding. As I said, we will provide this comms training, additional training throughout the year of connection to the project, because the projects are to be 12 months. And you will also have an external mentor or a scientific and technical advisor that is funded by us, so not taken out of the funds that you are getting, and generally tends to be someone who, how we like to say is that you tell us some people that you've been looking up for, someone that you've been using their research to guide your own works, and we will do our best to secure them to assist you throughout the implementation of the project. And that is secured from our end in terms of contracting and whatever is needed, so that they follow up entirely throughout the implementation of the project. So if there are, Valentine?
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. I just would like to. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Okay. I would like to ask a question about the eligibility of the members. especially of academic self-plagiarism.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to know, does it concern all projects at GDN or any publication you have done?
So what do we mean by self-plagiarism is that you are, the application does not come with entire sentences, entire chapter sections that are copy-pasted from research articles that you submitted in the past or other projects that you were involved with in the past. You can always reference those, and there's a component there for you to introduce which are your references for the project. But you, at least, the very least, is that you need to reword them. You can say the same thing, but in different words. It just cannot be exactly the same thing as before, because as anything that even if it's yours, that's why I said we talked about self-plagiarism. It cannot just be a copy paste from materials that you've done in the past and published somewhere and are publicly available, because then it's not original content from your end. Does that make sense? Or
Yes, thank you.
you're very welcome. So anyone else in terms of the ORD that has any pertinent question? Okay. So I'll move then into the other category. So let's dive now into the work, the amazing work that many NGOs, CSOs do throughout the Global South to the most marginalized communities. So this project, this category is also has the same history in terms of being part of, since 2000, still funded by the generous support of the Ministry of Finance. The part here that changes is the focus, right? Because this is about projects being developed by NGOs or CSOs to benefit and to address the needs of their target groups, and in general terms, the most marginalized communities. The sizes are different because these are for direct benefit of the individuals that they are trying to benefit. So it's 50,000 for the 2 first prize winners and 20,000 for the second prize winner. As before, whenever people are applying, they're applying for the 50,000, and that the one that gets a second prize gets then to reframe their project to fit the funding that is made available. And why do we have 2 first prize winners? Because the projects have to be between 12 and 24 months. And after the 12 months implementation, the 2 first prize winners compete among one another for the additional grants that we have available of 200,000. So one of those that initially got 50,000 will get 200,000 more to scale it up or replicate it or a combination of both. And this is only accessible to those that were initially classified as the 2 first prize winners. Hope that is not clear. If not, please do interrupt me and ask me again if it is. The overarching topic theme is the same: sustainable climate action for human-centered development. But on this case, we want to see and to check which to highlight some very important projects that are already on the ground by these NGOs. And the point to make here, the key fact of everything I'm saying, is already on the ground. So this is not for NGOs that have a brand new idea on something that they would like to do to fit within this team. It has already to be a project that is also already on the ground, has at least 6 months of implementation as part of the eligibility screening that I'm going to show after. And what they want is to showcase it, to show to us how good it is, the impact that it is having, how much it has been helping to enhance this climate resilience to the individuals that it is benefiting from. And they want to have access to more funds to implement it even further, and eventually, if they got the first prize winner, to scale it up to a wider region or towards the next stage of what they were trying to do from the get-go. I hope that this is clear. What we want to do is, on this case, we gave 4 key items or 4 key elements, because within the overarching theme, we have community-centered climate change, climate action, and sustainable development. Focus here, community-driven. So the community, this needs to be a bottom-up approach. You need to ensure that the people are actually going to are the ones leading the efforts. They have an active role in this. And why we focus on this? Because the projects cannot be dependent all the time on the NGOs or CSOs that are doing them. They needs to have some commitment by the communities themselves so that they are not reliant on support from externals all the time. And since we're talking about doing initiatives that are addressing the complex impacts of climate change, they need to be wary and ready to adapt whenever it is needed, because there's no stopping it, unfortunately, at this moment in time. So community-driven initiatives, they need to have adaptation and mitigation strategies. So they need to make sure that the people are trained, they are components of training, so that they are able to adapt and to react to whenever there are new elements coming into effect on the main topic or the main issue that was being addressed. They need to be able to evolve and be focused on their livelihood. So they need to give them more conditions for these people to eventually, ideally, move from being considered marginalized to have to be empowered, so that they have no more, or at least less, economical disadvantages, which ultimately also affects their well-being. And they have need to consider the time-bound restrictions that might exist. So as I mentioned before, these things might be done because of something that just occurred due to climate change, or something that is predicted to have a long-term impact, and therefore you need to identify and to showcase what is the impact, what is the expected impact, and the applicability of the initiatives that they're doing. Similarly to the ORD category, these need to demonstrate how they fit into these 4 categories that we have identified, and you need to showcase and to demonstrate that these 4 elements are considered and are embedded into the structure of the project. If not, then they will not be eligible per se, because if one of these fails, so if they're not based on the community empowerment, or in terms of having adaptation strategies, or making sure that they are also done towards the empowerment on an economical or well-being perspective, or they do not have an assessment of its implementation in terms of timeline, there's a high level of uncertainty and of risk that cannot be overlooked. The countries are virtually the same as for the ORD. The difference here, or the note that I leave, is that in case of doubt or in case of equal evaluations, priority will be given to those that are coming from low income countries. That rarely happens, but just to give you that note on it. Going through then the eligibility. Same as for ORD in terms of the country, needs to be in one of those the countries that were listed before and are part of the call for projects, the MRP call for projects. They cannot be considered under a risk activity. So there's a list of ineligible activities that I'm going to go very quickly afterwards, but you can see it later on through this PowerPoint and also on the call itself, there's Annex 1. It has all the activities that cannot be considered because those will be, that's an immediate exclusion. The project must be run by an NGO with a headquarters in at least one of the eligible countries. So you can have multiple ones, but they needs to be based in that country, in one of those countries, and the activities must be run in one of those countries as well. Same as ORD as well. You can reapply if you are a previous applicant, but you need to adapt it to the current team. A project might be very good, and I've seen it, and my heart aches whenever I see a wonderful project with a lot of impact, but does not have any connection with the theme, does not have any connection with what we're trying to address, and therefore it is excluded. Contrary to ORD, MRP winners cannot apply again because it's an opportunity given to the NGO, not to the researcher. And you need to ensure that the NGO or CSO is eligible and has the ability to receive funds from an international funder. So imagine in India, if it is an organization from India, they must be FCRA compliant in order to receive those funds. Because otherwise, the award can be given, but they will not get the funds. Therefore, an opportunity must be given to someone else. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but you have this on the call, but just to give you a glimpse. So involving child worker or forced labor, activities that will force the eviction of people, activities that involve toxic chemicals, pesticides, resettlement, these are the sort of excluded ones that cannot be present, cannot be part, because they will not be acceptable in any way or form. The evaluation for this case is slightly different, though a change that was made this year is that there is going to be a paragraph or recommendation coming, because the review is done by an external company, an external reviewer with experience in the development sector and in doing due diligence of development projects within the topic, which virtually does everything after the eligibility screening that is done by GDAC. They start by doing a desk review where they're going to focus on certain aspects of the call. They go then, there's a shortlisted exists that goes into review stage, and then a virtual due diligence. I can tell you that from the desk review to the business review, 10 applications are selected and go through interviews, and from the business review to the due diligence stage, which can be or not virtual, 6 applicants are selected. So there's always a cut down, and people get some feedback, but if they get feedback, it means that they were excluded. So, and there's no appeal system per se. So please be very precise on the application for the MIDP. Look at the instructions that are provided there, because we immediately state there which section will be considered at each of the moments, because from the business review until the business review, there is no contact with the reviewer, the external company. So make sure that the information is provided accurately and according to the expectations as set in the call. They will not reach out to you, and imagine that at the second level, at the desk review, you were excluded, and they give you a comment on something that was missing, and you said, "Oh, that information was later on the proposal." Unfortunately, there's no turning back. So do read the application, do read the guidelines, so that you make sure that you are following the expectations of everyone. The criteria. The first one it's similar to the ORD. It needs to be innovative. This is to highlight innovative projects that they're presenting solutions to a problem in an innovative way. So we're trying to highlight those proposals to bring them so that they can be seen, they can be heard, and eventually recreated by others in other sides of the world. They need to be defined and have objectives. They need to have activities, and they need to have a framework, even if very superficial, of measurable results. That is part of the application as well, that you can see there. There's a table of indicators where for us to have a glimpse of how you're going to measure and how do you envision this in terms of the outreach and how many people will be involved and so on and so forth, which is connected then to the social impact, its possibility for expansion, if there's a risk assessment, we just spoke about that, the human resources and finances, and the operations, but these last three are more about the final stages. The last one will be associated with that list of excluded activities to ensure that none of them falls into that. All these questions are provided here, but they are part of the application as well, the application template. You're going to see all of these as well reflected per section. And similarly to what was said on the ORD, make sure that you have the information that will address these questions on each respective section. Do not put, section A, and you see that how is your project different than other existing projects? Do not put that and reply to it directly. Just create a story, write it down in a way that the answer is there without the need to make it written as if you're replying to that question. That is not the point. That is not the expectation. And if you do that, you are losing some precious space that would be useful for you to add additional comments and content for it. So I'm passing it through because you're gonna have the opportunity to check it upon. But later on, when we get to the question round, you can tell me if you want to get a clarification on any of them in particular. Similar to what happens before, the jury, then when they go and they are at the session, they're gonna listen to your to your presentation. They will have 6 elements of evaluation as well, focusing again first innovation, the objectives, how is it structured, is it impactful from a social point of view, is it possible for it to be scaled up, replicated, or expanded, how feasible does it sound, and how coherent, knowledgeable you are about the proposal that you're putting forth throughout the Q&A session. The reviewers, just to get a very quick glimpse of you, they need to have representation throughout the world in terms of previous works. They need to have worked with the World Bank commitments and compliance systems, and to be fully aware of within the thematic approach. Their application is generally reviewed, considering 60% for the application that is set forth, including the methodology that they propose to do, and the capacity of the applying team. Having said this, MREP questions. Any that emerges? Don't be shy. Feel free. I promise I won't bite. Okay, if that's the case, let me move then to another point, that is the application portal. Do you have doubts about how the application portal works or what is expected out of you? Or maybe you've not even gotten through it yet. Can you let me know where you stand? So I take the silence as you are completely on top of it and you don't need my support on that front. Could I be correct on it? Okay, if I will then take another one, which is, I'm gonna very quickly go through the offline. I believe you can see my screen again. So this document is available on the website of GDN, of the awards, which is basically an offline version of the application form. so that you are fully aware of what we are asking from the get-go from you. General information about the title of proposal, where it's going to take place. Make note that the CV of the PI does not necessarily need to be the one that starts the application, but on the main body of it, you will need to provide and upload the CV and the details of said PI. They can be added as a collaborator within the platform, but on the main body, they need to be listed as the person. We ask, the first thing we ask is the abstract and notes. Again, most of them have a limitation of words. And as I said, there's guiding questions. So do not dismiss them. If there's a big advice that I can give you is do not dismiss the guiding questions, because they're there to help you, to guide you, as the name says. They're there to guide you, so you should not neglect them. Always the keywords, always the maximum to follow, except for one case where you're going to get. Remember what I was telling you throughout the presentation, there's a set of guiding questions within each of the criteria. They are reflected in throughout the application form. So do not come and which is your research question. Do not, copy paste it and then reply, because what happens is that this will be counting for the word count, and you don't want to lose those the space, because 300 is not that much. So we're also testing in terms of the capacity of the teams to summarize and to refine the content that they want to share forth. So the questions are there for you to make sure, okay, I've written all of this. Did I reply to this one? Yes. Did I reply to this one? Yes. Did I reply to that one? Yes. Great. So you can move on. If not, go back and see where you need to fill it out, because a lot of people tend to not advance from one moment to the other precisely because they didn't take that into consideration. They felt that these were just optional and we were just providing them without a specific goal. There is a goal. Very much something that from experience tends to fail is on the connection to the theme. So make sure that that is properly reflected and explained throughout the process. The references, you're going to have a table to add on the platform with all the different items so that you can link them and refer to them, and you don't risk there afterwards going through any issues on the plagiarism scan because you are referencing everything. But referencing and paraphrasing, they're different. Do not put within brackets or with quote marks an entire chapter, because that's still not going to be acceptable. Reword it, and then it'll be fine. The methodology, as expected, is the one that has the biggest space with its specific ones, and this even generally what this is even extended on the platform, because we know that this is the part we will need the most. So be aware of that. I'm not sure if you were able to see this or not, but it is available online if you want to work offline and then go online into the platform. However, on the platform itself, you can work together with your team, because it has the option to add collaborators into the system, and then you can all work on the same proposal without the need of going back and forth with emails or attachments, since there's a collaborative to do so. The budget is a template. You should always aim for the 30,000. There is absolutely no advantage whatsoever for you to give a project for 10K. That does not increase your chances of success. The award is 30K, therefore apply for 30K. That's if that money is not used, I cannot use it for anything else. So I'd rather have you use it for everything that you might need. So take that into consideration. And the project is up to 12 months. Okay, do not submit it less. It is 12 months, and there's a template that you can download through this offline document and through the online platform for the process. The same goes for the MRAP. There's also a version for the MRAP where the document is available. all the guiding information that it is. On the length of this project is between 12 and 24, not less, not more, 12 to 24. The PI, the project director, is also going to be named on the initial one, and the same process goes in terms of considerations for limitations of words and considering the guiding questions. It's exactly the same as the ORD. The only thing that this one has that the other ones do not have is in terms of the measurable results that we were talking about. There's a template. These are the basic indicators that we expect that are provided throughout the implementation so that we have an understanding of how this is going to look like in terms of numbers and the people that will benefit from the project that you are proposing. And please note, this is for an ongoing project, but what we are looking for are the basic indicators for the project that you're submitting to GDN. So for the 50,000 that you're asking to submit to the project to be followed up, to be further implemented, what is the outputs in terms of people, of activities, events, of the 50,000 that you will get, not of everything else that the organization is doing. It is important to make that distinction. Questions? Having seen this. So I think that I've run across the different elements and I'm here for you. So you tell me, is there anything that you need further, any sort of clarification, any sort of additional details? Please let me know, because otherwise I will close this call. So I'm gonna try to do. Okay.
Yes, we
Go,
have
Josephine.
one question. Yes.
Yes.
I want to know if it is possible to present the project in French, to write in English, to write the PowerPoint in English, the project in English, but to present in French. Is it possible?
That will not, even though that is very down the line. I like your motivation to be one of the finalists, but I can tell you that the final presentation, so the one that will take place in November, will need to be in English. Everything about this competition has to be in English. So I'm gonna go through. Cassandra, do you have any questions at this moment? I'll take that as a no. Cynthia, any further questions?
Yeah, Joe. Probably my question is on the timeline, but I'll have to access the template and see. Are we limited with the? Okay, will the timeline be dictated by from your end? Like, are we working with the 2025 calendar or 2024 calendar? Considering that these awards will run from 2025.
So the calendar, the timeline is in terms of the project. So it should not be bound to like January or February or so. It's in terms of the implementation of the project. But as a tentative, what we say is that when you open the document, you're going to see that the grants are expected to start during the first quarter of 2025. So if your project is like time bound because of X, Y, or Z, you can indicate that.
Okay, because there's a clause I've seen on, I think, initial and I don't know, final. Initial something and on the timeline template, maybe you can just project it on the timeline template.
Yes. So this one, right?
No, for the ORD. Yeah, initial and
it's
final.
the same.
Yeah, initial
This
and
is the same.
final month.
Yes.
Maybe
so,
you can just
no,
clarify
but this is,
there.
So you have the activity 1 that is literature review.
Yeah.
right? Something. I'm just talking it out, right?
Okay.
And the output is document X. What we say by month, initial month or second month is like, this is going to be done on month 1, and the final month is going to be month 2.
Okay, so you just say month. You don't say like May, and then June or something of the sort.
And no, because imagine that there's a delay for whatever reason. Imagine that your institution takes 2 months to get back to us in terms of the contract or whatnot. We don't want to go and redo everything all over again. So unless there is a need, because imagine your project is about rainwaters and you need to do it within a certain season. In that case, then it makes sense for the month to be indicated as an actual month, considering that it's going to start during the first quarter of 25. But generally, it should be month 1 to month 2, and then interviews or something as such will go from month 2 to month 4, you know, something around like this.
Okay, it's clear. Okay, noted. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me go back into the list that I was following. So Cassandra, no questions from you. Gabriela, any questions from your end? I'm gonna take that as a no, Gabriela. If not, please do come in. Josephine, any further questions from your end?
No, it is okay for me.
Awesome, thank you. Mohammed, any questions from your end?
Thank you very much. I understand. I have no question for the moment.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, I say that I understand, and it is very clear. Thank you very much.
Very happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that. Gabriela, so can the Food Bank of Bolivia present an expansion project or a project focused on a community in Bolivia? My first question is the Food Bank a non-profit NGO or CSO? That's the first question that I have on my mind. If so, okay, one eligibility is done. The second is if it is a follow-up or connected, very much connected to the project that is already being implemented, yes, it would be. It's just you're gonna need to demonstrate that. You know, when you're writing the proposal, ensure that you frame it out as not a new project, but it's still an ongoing project that has been happening since X, Y, or Z, and this is a continuation of it. You're gonna have the people, the reviewers, when the time comes, they will also double check that with you. But yes, again, still very, even though important, NGO, CSO, ongoing project. Third, connected, demonstrate connection, a deep connection with the theme. Do not forget about it. I know that there's gonna be a billion different wonderful, impactful projects, but they need to fit into the project. Otherwise, they're gonna be excluded. And I don't want to raise hopes and make you lose time if you don't see a fit or a connection with the topic. So I went to Mohammed. Let's go to Valentin. Any questions from your end?
No, thank you. Everything is clear for me.
Very good. Very happy to hear that. If that's the case, then everyone, you do. I'm gonna close this call. I'm just actually gonna stop the recording now.